Well, first of all, not many of the Rohingya refugees here have the means or even the inclination to watch Aung San Suu Kyi's remarks. So not many people are even aware of what she has said. Those few that are not surprised at all. Her remarks are very much in keeping with her general attitude towards the Rohingya population over the past few years. We spoke to a gentleman just a few minutes ago who said, well, he wasn't surprised at all about the things she said. Now, the Rohingya refugees who are here have other concerns. There are greater concerns in their minds. Chiefly access to food, access to medicine, access to shelter. It's been raining almost constantly, which is making conditions in the camps that they live in extremely miserable. So the refugees here are pretty much focused on other issues.
Indeed, immediate concerns for their survival. They did, of course, flee their home country. Burma says it is ready to verify refugee status at any time and allow those refugees to go back home. But, you know, Rohingya, if I understand correctly, are stateless. Do they have papers? Do they want to be able to return? Do you think that's feasible?
Well, one of the things that the refugees here are very clear about is that they do not want to return to Burma. We've spoken to a lot of refugees over the last few days, including a few that we met right at the border when they just arrived in Bangladesh. They're traumatized by what they've witnessed. They're traumatized by the oppression they've been subjected to. And they're very clear that they do not want to go back. They don't trust the military. They're appealing to the international community for help, but they certainly don't want to go back to Myanmar. So if that does pan out, if that is a plan, it's going to be very hard to convince the refugees here.
Meanwhile, Mandakini, how do you think Bangladesh might react? It is giving shelter to hundreds of thousands of Rohingya. Will Bangladesh be able and want them to stay?
I didn't hear your question very clearly, but I'd like to talk very quickly about the conditions here. To say that the Rohingya refugees here are living in miserable conditions would be an understatement. It's been raining almost constantly over the last few days. And in the camps, there are large pools of mud that the refugees are wading through. It's a breeding ground for all sorts of diseases. Authorities are extremely concerned now about spread of all sorts of diseases. I also want to cite the example of food. Yesterday, at a distribution center that serves 70,000 Rohingya refugees, they received only 3,500 packets of food for 3,500 families. So huge gap between what is needed and what is reaching the refugees here. A great need for aid.